Alright, what is up guys? VV back with another video. And today, I'm going to try and do a pretty short video, but kind of an update style video. So, I did hop back to Black Yellow Charlotte Linlin. This is the list that I ran today in my store championship. I did okay. I went 3-1. The one match I lost was against a Whitebeard who finished in the top 4. I don't know how I need more play testing against Whitebeard. But I will say this, when I played against Whitebeard, I didn't see a single one of my 10 2K counters. So that kind of hurt me transitioning into the late game. And he knew playing against me, he knows the kind of player I am. He knew I was going to be, you know, when he saw I was running Black Yellow Charlotte Linlin, he chose to go second. And maybe he just wanted to go second anyway. Maybe that's what he'd prefer. I'm not exactly sure into this matchup. If you know, by all means, comment in the comment section below. But this list ran very well. I ate up 2 Zoros very easily. The third matchup I had was a Zephyr. And then the first game I played was against the Whitebeard. So just to kind of show that real quick, these are the... Where did I put it? There it is. So this, real quick, just made a quick little slide to kind of show what I went against. This is not in the correct order. I do apologize. The order was Whitebeard first, then Zoro, then Z, and then Zoro. So Whitebeard, Zoro, Z, Zoro. That's it's like a tongue twister. But I went 3-1 at the store championship, finished in 6th place. Top 8, I'll take it. You know, especially, you know, it's funny for anyone who follows the channel, they know that, you know, I'm like pretty diehard playing Rebecca. Really wanted to make that deck work. And 2 things to say. Number 1, look at who I played against. Nothing but red decks, and then a rogue Zephyr deck. Which that Zephyr game was very close. Like, I don't want that to seem like, oh yeah, that was a freebie. It was not, because when we ran into each other, we were both 2-1, right? So it was, you know, it was definitely a good game. The player was very good playing the deck as well. Every player I went against today was very good, actually. Both Zoros, the Whitebeard, and the Zephyr, very good players. I didn't feel like I got any freebies. Let me say it like that. And but anyway, you know. The first game I went against was Whitebeard, the one loss I had, and it was not close. I'm just going to be honest with you guys. I did not draw very well. Like I said, over the course of the entire game, I did not get even one 2K counter, did not get even one Borsalino until it was too late. I got a Borsalino at the end. No Fukuros, no Sabo protection. He was just eating up everything I played, one card at a you know, and he got the ideal curve too. I don't mean to make excuses. He beat me fair and square, but it was one of those games where it was like, turn 2, so he went second, right? So turn 2, he drops Frankie. Turn 3, he drops down Marco. Turn 4, he dropped down Ace, and then turn 5, he just ran me over with what he had on the board and played a. I think he had a Luffy. I think he had a Luffy in hand, and it was pretty much over. Like, and again, without a single 2K counter, there's just not much I can do with all those 6K attacks. It was just brutal. And I got no love from the top of the deck either, from the top of the life with triggers and such. No beige, no Sanjis, just nothing, just literally nothing. I think I got a impact wave. that was the most I got, and it took out the Frankie, which was nice, but it was too little, too late. Against both Zoro games, that felt pretty good. The 2 Zoros. I think this deck has a very favorable matchup against Zoro, and don't worry, we'll go back to the list in a second. I'll talk about it. Very favorable matchup against Zoro. Though I will say one game, it was like trigger, where I was like, okay, cool. Not only is my matchup favorable against this person's deck, but so was my luck that game, quote unquote, like, you know, getting my top decks and stuff from life. And the Zephyr deck was just really, it made me nervous, right? It made me very nervous because, again, I wasn't drawing a lot of my unKOable blockers like Borsalino and Fukuro, so I did have to play it just right. But I got some pretty good triggers in that game as well. Okay, let me get back to the list real quick and talk about some potential changes. Let's go. Here it is. So right away, the first thing I want to talk about is the game against Whitebeard. I got flooded in my hand. So I run 10 characters that are over 6 cost. Only 10. I only run 10 characters that cost more than 6. Right? Everything else in my deck is 5 or less. Everything. And against the Whitebeard player, I was sitting on double Charlotte Linlin, double Yamato, and a Katakuri. So 5 of the 10 8 plus drops in the deck were in my hand that game. And I did not get one 2K, not one Borsalino, which I run 4 of, as you can see, and not one Fukuro. It was just a bad luck game. It just, I don't like to use excuses, but it was just unlucky. Now, I will say this, I do think that Whitebeard still has a very favorable matchup into this deck. I could be wrong about that. Maybe if I made a few adjustments, it would be more favoring this deck. But man, it just felt like maybe if I added like Truna Bastardo instead of the Thunderbolts or something, where I could just have a more consistent way to just KO a target, right? A 4 cost or less. Because that's what allowed him to go off to the races. Excuse me. Not being able to answer that Frankie right away, it allowed him to eke in too much damage, while I also was not lucky enough to get any 2K counters. And you see I run 10 2K counters, I run 4 Impact Waves, 3 Narcabura arrows. Just unlucky. Just very unlucky. But again, the guy played perfectly. He did everything just right, swinging in the correct order, the correct sequencing, so that I couldn't get maximum value from anything. He did well there. Now, again, just to touch base real quick again with the Zoro. The Zoro games felt very comfortable because, number one, I got a better pool than against the Whitebeard. But number two, this deck, I feel like, just kind of counters Zoro. I really, truly feel that way. Because notice I have 6 blockers that come off trigger without even having to trash a card. And then 4 more in the Sanjis that come off the top of the life, huge. A 4 cost 5K. And then it's sitting on 4 Borsalinos, 3 Fukuros. It even has 3 Bartolomeos, which can double over as a 2K counter or a block or whatever you need. Though I don't recommend it because it is at that magic 3,000 power number. It is just a perfect target for their Marcos. Generally speaking, against Zoro, you do not want to play Bartolomeo unless you can unless you can combo it with your Sabos, right? Or unless you just have no other option, right? Then you just have to chance it. But you get the point. Other than that, the Surus were excellent, by the way, like as 2K counters, and they also combo with your Katakuri. You can take out anything in the game with that, with Katakuri and Suru for a 9 Dawn investment. And with 9 Dawn investment, you still could have 1 Dawn open, if you have 10 Dawn, obviously. You'll have 1 Dawn open for your Narcabura arrow. So that's a nice synergy. Yamato, again, also incredibly powerful with Suru, where you can hit something that costs 2 less, or minus 2 cost to whatever life is on the board. And she also combos perfectly with Narcabura arrow as well. That has been the story of the list. I will say, yes, Charlotte Linlin, the 10 cost is still massive, and does exactly what she's supposed to do. But Yamato coming down a turn earlier, where now your odd curve is kind of fixed, it feels pretty good, guys. I'm not going to lie. And then last but not least, let me talk about the Z list. Really cool list. It had a lot of removal in it. The guy used the leader effect very effectively, efficiently, however you want to say it, to get buffs when needed, to KO when needed. And yeah, it was just solid. That was a nail biter match. I would say that was probably the closest game of the day. If not, it was the second Zoro. The second Zoro, let me explain real quick. So I felt pretty comfortable. I had a Yamato on the board. I had one of the blockers. I don't know if it was a Borsalino or a Fukuro. It was one of the blockers that was fine. It was not going to get KO'd. I think. No, maybe not. Excuse me. Never mind. I didn't. It was gone. Instead, I had, like I said, I had a Yamato and Charlotte Linlin, which put me up to 3 life and him down to 1 life. My opponent down to 1 life. And I said, hey, I literally said to him, I was just joking, but I said, all right, heart of the cards, here we go, man, because you know what I'm doing right here. Because he knew, like, okay, you're basic. I think I had 3 or 4 cards in hand, and he had a full board. He had every single slot on the board filled up. And like I said, I swung it face, dropped Big Mom, and said, okay, here we go, heart of the cards. and I have 3 life. I had 2, and I went up to 3 from Charlotte Linlin, the 10 cost. So those 3 triggers. Now, those 3 triggers were gross. I'm not going to lie to you. It was Brule into Sanji. So like I said, I had 4 cards in hand. Okay, well, I pitched 1 by 1 by 1. And I will say that for the people who want to try this deck, if you are low on cards and you have a decent amount of life because of using, depending on how you play the deck, right? It all depends. Make sure you're using your triggers, because your triggers might require you to pitch a card. You see what I'm saying? So always make sure you at least have 1 card to pitch. That's just something you got to learn when playing this deck. But yeah, that's about it as far as the matchups go. Really good games. I wish I could have gone for, wish I could have won it, but that Whitebeard got me good. It felt rough, and it was a fast game, the first one, and then we played another game afterwards. Not much different. Now that game, I got triple Thunderbolt in hand, ended up mulliganing it down again, even though like it was just a fun game, but. It did, let me say this, it felt like I needed a good 6 or 7 drop. That's all I'm going to say. So now, going from there, any kind of revisions to the deck that I would consider. Katakuri, even though he has good synergy where you can run him with Suru to take out any character in the game, like throw it to life, or it can combo well with Narukabura Arrow, it can combo with Thunderbolt, it can even combo with Impact Wave if you think about it, right? You play him, bounce a character, sit on 2 Dawn so you can use your Impact Wave. It has synergy, but it just never felt right for me. I don't, maybe it really is strong, but I don't feel like it's exactly what I want in this list. Or if I do want in the list, maybe I want to add something like the Shirahoshis to draw card effects, maybe something like that, I'm not sure. Y'all tell me what y'all think about that card. Yamato was a monster today. It's something about Yamato where, like, okay, you're always going to gain the life from her effect if you're playing this deck correctly, or if you don't get the effect, drawing, gaining a life card from the effect, you're probably KOing anything in the game you want to, right? Like pretty much anything. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, I KO'd an Edward Newgate. Like, and it still didn't matter. Like, excuse me, it did matter. That was against Zoro. One of the Zoro players I played against had an Edward Newgate. He dropped it down. He goes, all right, here we go. Your turn. And I go, okay. I had 2 life. He had 5 life. And I go, okay, play Suru. So now he's a 7. And like I said, I had 2 life. He had 5 life. Play Yamato. KO your Edward Newgate. And now I have a 9K and you don't. It was just... that was pretty nice. I'm not gonna lie. That was pretty nice. Charlotte Linlin just always does what she does. But I'm starting to kind of lean against Katakuri. Like, I'm actually starting to think that maybe it would just be better to start to put, like, a better 5, 6, or 7 cost there. And this sounds crazy, but I was even thinking about, like, 7 cost, the new Luffy there. Because these games that go long, I end up putting quite a bit of cards in my trash. And it's like, well, let me see what I have already. Well, I've got 3 Dressrosa cards in Bartolomeo, 3 Dressrosa cards in Sabo, and, if I put in, like, 2 or 3 Monkey D. Luffy's, maybe I run, this is just all theory crafting right now. At that point, maybe I run, let me type in, hang on one second, King Kong Gun. That's the card I'm trying to get out that I can't say. Because like I said, then I could go up to 4 Bartolomeos if needed. And I could even run Barrier at that point, potentially. Idio's just a nice blocker. Bartolomeo's, like I already said. Maybe fit in the Truno Bastardo at that point, or the Gum Gum King Kong Gun. And then I'm already running the Sabos. Maybe fit in some Luffy's. And if I need to, again, I all of this is in the works. Everything I'm saying is just like something I'm considering. It's not, none of this is in stone right now. But, like, I might mess around with a semi-Dressrosa list. Because remember, like, Rebecca here, I can run this card. This is on play, look at 3 cards from the top of your deck, reveal up to 1 Dressrosa type card other than Rebecca, and add it to your hand, then trash the rest. Well, if I'm trashing the rest, that can help fuel my trash for, like, Barriers, Truno Bastardos, King Kong Guns, and like we already know, Luffy, and Sabo's doing it as well. It's just it is just an idea. Sorry, I know this is a little bit off topic compared to what we're doing, but just kind of looking forward to some actual revisions that might be worth considering. But as is, I think the list is extremely powerful. I think the list is very good. But like I said, I feel like, notice there is no 6 drop, there's no 7 drop. It would be nice to have something there. Even if it was like a 6 cost vanilla character, like a Parasparrow, or a 7, even a, like, is there even a 6 or 7, a 7 cost character in Black and Yellow? Let me see something real quick. Black, Yellow, cost. Let's start with 6. Whoops. Let's go 6, 7 like that. I'll even do 5. We'll do it like that. And then, so again, we know about Shirahoshi. My buddy Joey over at Heart Pirates TCG suggested running the CP9 package, which, which could be very strong. I've definitely not ruled that out. I just haven't had the chance to test it, that's all. But here you go. Here's a 5 cost 7K right here. Is there? I wonder if there's a 6 cost 8K. That's my yeah Paraspero. That's right. I already said that. And then I don't think there's a 7 cost 9K yet available for us. But this is not bad either, right? Like 7 cost 8K Charlotte Linlin with that effect. That could be very strong. And I think Luffy would kind of be cool as well. But we'll have to see. We will have to see about that. Sakazuki is always an option anytime you're running a black deck. Smoker. There's a lot of options. Well, all right, guys, I don't want this video to run too long. I just want to get this one out real quick, tell you guys how I did a little update on the tournament. And again, I hate that I had to jump away from Rebecca for now, because look what happened. As soon as I go black-yellow, I go against 3 red decks. You know, that's just, what is it, Murphy's Law, or the, you know, that's just universal. You can't avoid the craziness when that happens like that. It's just like bound to happen. But anyway, hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys got any comments or suggestions or questions about the list or any matchups, by all means, just ask away in the comment section below. And what else? I'm trying to think. Yeah, tell me what you guys think about this list. And until next time, guys, peace.